we're live. Hello. Yes, I'm finally playing Microsoft Flight Sim. Can't believe it. The VTuber pilot is finally playing the flying game. It's only taken like half a year. The pilot is piloting. It's going to be very bad piloting though. I have not played this game properly in quite a while. So this stream I'm going to go through hopefully a lot of the basic training again. I hardly remember any of the controls. I mean, I've done a few bits and pieces. So 9% mastered on takeoff and I've done a lot of the airline training. I love flying. Big jumbo jets. That's my favourite thing to do. But yeah, let's just get right into it and see how bad I am. Start from the beginning. Hopefully I'll be able to sail through these. Hello, hello. Oh, I've got a lot of game taste.
Welcome to Sedona. I'm Captain Jess Molina, and I'll be your instructor. For this lesson, we're going to start on the ground and focus on some basic concepts. Fundamentals every pilot needs to know before hitting the skies. This is your plane, a classic, the Cessna 152. Take a look around it. In the simulator, anytime you want, you can easily switch to cursor mode. The cursor is handy for interacting with menus and cockpit controls or instruments. As you can see, activating the cursor also displays the toolbar. The toolbar is a quick access menu that allows you to control various aspects of the simulation. Try to find and open the basic controls panel.
Controls panel.
The basic controls panel is a useful
I like it's my
reminder of the
flight
button
stick.
layout for the devices you're currently using. Now try to find and open the camera panel in the toolbar. The camera panel allows you to access the various views and camera modes of the simulation. Go ahead and close all the panels for now. Right now, we are in the external view mode. Let's switch to cockpit view next.
I've already done that.
In front of you is the yoke, the primary means of controlling the aircraft. In the simulation, you'll be controlling the aircraft with your peripherals of choice. So let's
My legs, where are my legs? I have no legs or body. Oh, wow. Oh no, I wasn't listening. What was I supposed to do? Oh no. What was that?
Some instruments allow multiple interactions. For example, rotating a dial clockwise or counterclockwise. In these cases, you need to lock the cursor onto them in order to interact. For example, take a look at the clock in the middle of the dashboard. Go ahead and lock the cursor on it. Now change the clock time. You can unlock the cursor once you're ready. For now, we're done with the cursor, so go ahead and hide it. Alright, as we've seen, when you want to look around you, it's easy to rotate the camera. But you can also move it freely in the cockpit to get a better view of anything you want to see. Even through a window to look outside.
What a lovely view. What? I was looking out. Oh no. I was looking outside. Yeah, I was looking outside. Oh, what have I done wrong? Have I done messed up? I did look outside. I did look outside. You know what? I'm gonna quit this one. I know all the controls. Oh, I know that. Let's start with this one. I just need to get used to all the controls again.
I've got to say, you chose a great day to go flying.
That was a great day to go
This
flying.
session, we'll get started with some basic controls. Sound good? First things
Good to
first,
me.
let's get familiar with your surroundings. Out your side windows, you can see we have great visibility over Sedona today. This is Red Rock territory. Beautiful, isn't it?
Very beautiful.
See if you can spot the Sedona airport. The runway should be a pretty easy landmark to find.
There it is.
There you go. Visual confirmation on the airport.
Waiting until the next step. Airport. You also got through all the boring tutorial stuff and
We already
doing down
talked
all the
about
controls.
basic controls.
I can
while
start
we were
playing
on
some of the
ground.
fun stuff, like
Time to see
the
how
landing
it all
challenges and
feels in
stuff.
the
That's what
air.
I'm really looking forward to.
The aircraft is currently set to a cruise attitude. The position it should be in for regular flight. Alright, now let's try banking into a turn by moving the yoke. I'll go first. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees.
Got it.
Go ahead and try rolling to the right.
And now here we
You
go.
have
Here we go.
controls. Turn
Oh,
right,
there we go.
toward the city of Sedona. Excellent.
That's smooth.
As we're flying towards Sedona, let's try climbing up and down. Gently pull on the yoke to climb. Give it a try. That's good. For the descent, it's the same principle, except you're pushing on the yoke. Go ahead, gently pitch down.
Now, oh.
Next time, be a bit more gentle on the controls. Okay,
Oops.
time to find the airport again.
Ah,
Look
that is
around,
awful.
And when you
Yeah,
found it,
absolutely
make a
awful.
turn in
I
that
was
direction.
thinking of the same joke. Oh no, what was I doing? I'll get distracted. I'm supposed to be listening to my instructor. Cat is distracting me. I think I was supposed to pin towards Sedonia Airport. Yes. Don't really know. Wait, the apple's there.
Make sure any control movements are soft and gentle.
Soft in general.
Now that you're more familiar with the
Nothing
aircraft
crazy
and
like
the
this.
surroundings,
Oi,
the next
oi.
step is to go
Oh no.
deeper into handling and techniques. Soon enough, you'll be able to enjoy trips all on your own.
I got B from that. I felt like it was pretty easy to get, you know, an A if I didn't go crazy. Oh yeah, I scored maximum points on the first two. My pitching up and down was awful. Probably when I pitched down way too far. And crash as much as I'll try not to, Ressica. Look around to find. How did I only get 166 points from it? Oh, I was supposed to look around, but then turn towards it. Never mind. On to the next one. I'm not used to the small aircraft. I like to fly the big, like big jumbo jets. Pretty good with those. Terrible with aircraft.
To help demonstrate pitch, I've drawn 3 lines on the windshield. Notice how the middle line matches the horizon while we're flying level. This is the cruise attitude. The lower dotted line is the climb attitude, and the upper one is the descent attitude.
That seems like pretty
Let's
simple
dig
stuff.
deeper into what that means. Pull back gently on the yoke until the climb attitude line matches the horizon. Then maintain that attitude.
Easy. Flying is easy. Virtual flying is easy.
According to your altimeter, we're gaining altitude. But we're losing airspeed, proving you can't avoid basic physics while making a climb. Excellent. Now let's level back out. Our speed is increasing and our altitude is
It definitely
stable.
improved the tutorials from when I first played this game. First come out.
All right.
I don't remember this.
Push gently on the yoke until the descent attitude line matches the horizon. Then maintain that attitude. As expected, with a nose down attitude, our altitude is decreasing, while our
We
speed
gain
is picking up.
airspeed, yeah. Yep.
Great.
Makes sense.
Okay, bring us back to level flight. Now your speed is decreasing and your altitude is stable. That's good. Try to make only small adjustments to your pitch to avoid overcorrection.
Me again. Well, I feel like I was a star on that. I'll take a B. B. Yeah, I do like the Cessna. I need to spend more time flying the smaller aircraft. Spend too much of my time on this game flying like the like A350. No, it's not the A350. It's the Neo. It's the Neo, isn't it?
For this lesson, we're going to use a line drawn on the windshield to indicate the cruise attitude. I've also added another dotted line to help you bank properly for left turns. Gently move the yoke to the left until the dotted line matches up with the horizon. Then maintain that bank. That's good.
Good. It's good.
Now let's see you level back out. All right. For the next step, turning to the right, let's see how you do on your own without any markings. At the top of your attitude indicator, there's a series of notches representing 10 degrees each. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees. Start banking right until you're lined up with the second notch to the right on the attitude indicator. Then maintain that 20-degree bank while remaining at the same altitude until I ask you to stop.
Look at that view.
That's good. Level us back out now.
Pretty good turns. Did quite well there.
Great. Small corrections on the yoke will lead to more accurate turns.
Oh, another B. What? This is embarrassing. I feel like I should be getting A's. I did pretty well there. I got close. At least I'm being consistent. Like that. Basics of power management. Beat him through these.
Let's talk about the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then the throttle's for you. Full control over the power output of the engine. In the Cessna 152, that relates directly to the RPM displayed on the tachometer.
I'm sharing from the wrong account.
Pull back on the throttle to reduce RPM to
Oh,
1800.
Jasper. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Reducing the throttle date. Captain speaking. Oh, Captain, my Captain. What was I supposed to be doing? I'm really not paying attention. What was I supposed to roll the throttle to? Oh, I'm gonna restart. I was not. It distracted me, chat. I need full focus.
Let's talk about the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then the throttle's for you. Full control over the power output of the engine. In the Cessna 152, that relates directly to the RPM displayed on the tachometer.
Yeah.
Pull back on the throttle to reduce RPM to 1800. Look how your speed and altitude are also decreasing.
Leads to
Excellent.
going down. Mayday,
Okay,
mayday.
let's throttle back up to 2400 RPM. Your speed is increasing now. As long as you maintain the same attitude, your altitude will keep climbing as well. Nice.
Nice.
That was excellent. With piston planes like this Cessna, it's common to have power targets defined in RPM.
I realize I'm blocking the subtitle. Hey, look at that! I got an A. Nice. What's next? A line through these, literally. Imagine trim for smooth.
In this lesson, let's take a look at the relationship between attitudes and power settings. Attitude plus power equals performance. We're currently at 5,500
Simple
feet
math,
in a
that is.
cruise attitude. The aircraft's nose is positioned under the horizon, and cruise power is at 2,300 RPM. Try to reduce power to 2,000 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet.
2,000. Roll.
That's good.
Good.
You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle.
Too much, too much. What am I currently at? Right? Get higher up. The 15,000 they said? I'm really bad at this.
You put your plane in a
Wait,
dangerous
what?
situation.
What do you have to play in a dangerous situation? What?
You probably noticed,
What?
to
What?
maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up.
What? That was not a dangerous
You could
situation.
just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of
Unbelievable.
control. Probably better to
Dangerous
adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle.
I absolutely hate
Keep
pitching
working
trim.
on it, you'll get better. You're not high enough.
Wait, sir, calm down. Never high enough.
You're not high enough.
Oh,
Increase power to 2,300 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet. Get us back to a cruise attitude.
don't like this. There's alarms going off.
You put your plane in a
I did
dangerous
not put
situation.
the plane in a dangerous situation. Stop telling me that.
Increase power to 2,300 RPM while maintaining 5,500 feet. Get us back to a cruise attitude.
About 25,000.
Excellent.
Oh, I mean,
Now, adjust the trim.
fuck the trim, I say. Let me just control it using the yoke. How much easier. It never seems to be like perfect. How do I get the trim to be perfect? Using. Going up, so now I gotta down. I think it goes too far down.
Alright,
Alright.
you did well, but you can do better. The way I was taught, when you adjust the trim, you make course changes at first to remove pressure on the yoke. Then small adjustments to find the perfect setting to keep your desired attitude. If you feel your pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim. That's the
But what
key
is
to
the right
straight and level
trim?
flight.
I got B though. Haha, 6699. Nice. That is the perfect score in my opinion. Alright, altitude. This test we will review. I should probably read all this to be honest. Probably actually able to explain a bit more. This test we will review the altitudes by combining a climb and a turn. We will then review the power settings and straight and level flight by using the power of maintaining the head at altitude. Power, altitude, performance. Do this. I want to become so good at this game. I want to become the ultimate simulation pilot.
The art of maneuvering a plane through the air isn't a mystery to you anymore. Now it's time to test the skills you've learned. As you
learned
can
any
see,
skills.
we're cruising at 6,000 feet on a north heading of 360 degrees. Start by descending to 5,500 feet while maintaining a northerly heading.
500, they say? Yeah.
While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed.
Overspeed. Overspeed. Right, head north. Right away from north. This training session introduces the loop-the-loop. And I could, do a loop-the-loop.
You put
Oh,
your
no.
plane in a dangerous
Whoops.
situation.
Okay, well, let me never mind.
Start
You
by
do the
descending
loop-the-loop
to
and the shoes
5,500
are
feet
looking good.
while maintaining a northerly heading.
500 feet.
While descending, reduce throttle to avoid overspeed.
Right, we're descending. Throttle a bit. Yeah, thanks, Reska. Forced me to put the plane in a dangerous situation. But yeah, we're at 5,500 feet.
Now climb to 6,000 feet and turn to a south heading. On the Cessna 152, you need full power to climb effectively.
6,000 feet. I'm heading south. Turn around. Oh yeah. Do the loop, and your shoes are good. Okay, stuff. I just need to 6,000 feet. Alright. Go. I'm heading south. Right. Well, 6,000 feet.
Nice. The turn was good, but try to climb faster in the future.
Alright, alright.
Alright, next exercise. Maintain your heading of 180 degrees. Stay at 6,000 feet and adjust your airspeed to 80 knots.
Roll down.
That's good.
Good, shit's good.
Your speed was well managed, but your altitude needs to be more accurate.
No, the altitude was perfect.
You did well, but you can do better.
Oh, another BR. Kill the bees. Oh, that's what I'm done. Alright, what's next? Here we go, take off a landing. Serious stuff now. Now, I used to be pretty good at taking off. Taking off is the easy part. Landing is the difficult part.
Let's take a moment to talk about taxiing. Taxiing refers to
Taxi.
moving the aircraft on the ground under its own power. In particular, getting from the ramp out to the hold short point on the edge of the runway. Steering on the ground is managed through the rudder pedals. That's right. Unlike driving a car, we turn by using our feet.
Easy.
Okay, ready? With the throttle
Using
idle,
feet to
release
turn.
your parking brake.
Parking brake. I wish you would tell me the bloody numbers on my light stick. Okay, it's that button. Okay, nice.
Now,
I worked it
gently
out.
increase throttle to get the aircraft moving.
Increase throttle. Oh yeah.
Go easy on your throttle. Use your rudder
Free
pedal
food
to turn
direct.
left and enter the taxiway. As you increase power, watch the tachometer and make sure to stay around 1,000 RPM.
Yeah, but you don't use your feet to. You use your feet to. No, you don't. I mean, you use your feet to
Now
control
test the
the
brakes.
speed. Oh, see, I'm not paying attention. Chat, stop distracting me. I already need
Good.
to help with
Brakes checked.
Brakes checked.
Taxi to the next exit, then come to a stop. Remember to control your speed with throttle and brakes.
Oh yeah, full
See
speed.
the crossing in front of us? Stop before it as if traffic was coming off the runway. Watch your speed. Unfortunately,
It won't let me
wheels
do
crossed
anything.
out of the
Every
taxiway.
time I try to do something stupid, it cuts me out
Taxi to the next
automatically.
exit, then come to a stop.
It won't let me
Remember
mess
to
around.
control your speed with throttle and brakes.
Alright, serious. Serious. I'm
See the
serious.
crossing in front of us? Stop before it as if traffic was coming off the runway.
I just wouldn't understand. Able to shift into corner taxiways faster. Best strat I've learned so far.
Alright, taxi to holding point Alpha 1 next. It's
I
at the
have
far end of the airport
no idea what you're
near the
talking
head
about.
of runway 21. Stay as close as possible to the taxiway center marked by the yellow line, and watch your speed.
Parking brake. It is. No, I really enjoyed taxiing my way to the runway in like the big airports, Heathrow and that. Well, that's some racing memes mixed with aviation. No worries. Oh, don't get your racing memes out of here. I don't do racing memes unless never mind. I'm gonna say something, but I forgot what I was gonna say. That was a poor joke, Adora. You should be ashamed. And don't throw Pokeballs. Let her in.
After the right turn, come to a stop before the hold short point and prep for takeoff.
Ah, yeah, we're gonna take off. Ah, yeah. I'm definitely going way too fast.
You mastered
brake
that
on?
lesson.
Oh
The
yeah,
next
you know I
challenge
mastered
will
that
be to
lesson.
Keep the aircraft under control. while
Great
at full
Trubbish,
throttle
then you're
for
collecting
takeoff.
little. Hey, Trubbish is the best Pokemon. Hey, look at that. Hey, whoop, whoop, whoop. At 1.069, that's easy. Right. Now we're going to take off, I think. Yeah, we're going to take off. Oh, yeah. There's nothing like the thrill of taking flight. A training session dedicated to getting you off the ground. Taxi into position on the runway. Accelerate 55 knots before pitching up to take off. Yep, maintain 75 knots. I was climbing to safety altitude of 5,500. Ah, I see. Easy. I can do this. I'm learning to fly again. Ah, yeah.
There's an old saying I like. A mile
Fucking
of
break
road
off.
will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere. Taking off isn't hard,
very
but
true.
there are a few key points to remember. First, we always take off into the wind.
I want to launch my flight sim now too. You
Like
should.
today.
Hop on.
Second, before we enter a runway,
We should
always
fly
make
around
sure
at
it's
some
clear.
point
Check to the right to see if a vehicle is on the runway, and to the left
sure, like,
to make sure no other
be up
planes
somewhere.
are approaching.
in the world and like race around, fly around racing. I mean, they added the is it the Reno races now? I think you have to buy those. Right, what am I doing? What? Fucking break off.
Check that the runway is clear.
The runway is clear. There's nobody here apart from me. I want to get up in the air.
Next time, watch the runway and the approach. Now slowly taxi onto the runway and align the plane with the center line.
Fast. There you go, that's perfect.
Excellent.
Excellent.
All right, let's do this. Apply full power and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go.
Oh, here we go. We're gonna take off. Once I finish stretching. Oh, there we go.
Fucking break off.
Use your rudders to stay on the center line and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots. Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke.
Gently. Yeah. Oh, there we go. We're doing it. Flying. taking off.
Pull back on the... and we're airborne.
We're airborne. Oh, yeah. Was it 5,500?
Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple of inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees. Maintain 75 knots and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time.
Gently grasp the stick. Pull back on the stick. It's a bit confusing when you keep saying the yoke. It doesn't have a yoke. Yeah, I'm using a fight stick. A bit confused. How we getting? We're almost at 5,500 feet. Head is pretty good.
Okay, 5,500 feet.
Okay,
You've reached your target altitude.
Nice.
That was a nice takeoff.
That was pretty good. I'm happy with that. Got an A. The F I did pretty good at the taking off, but apparently that was the name get 4 points for that. Whereas I thought I did pretty badly at looking on the right and left side of the runway. He had a go at me for that. Okay, apparently I've done this one before at some point. So let's just do it again, because I don't... During session, you'll be placed in conditions that will allow you to be focused on using the yoke only to land. Manage speed and glide path on the final approach. Prepare the aircraft to touch down smoothly. Brake after landing to end the flight. Here we go. I'm absolutely awful at landing, so this is fun. Try not to crash.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast.
5 knots. Nice and easy.
Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does.
And Ric Flair.
We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back.
Nice and easy. Nice and easy.
Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back.
What is that
to
name?
aim the nose just above it.
Oh no, I'll get distracted. Oh no.
Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop.
I assume you're just a troll, but
Well
you have a
done.
funny name.
But there's room
I'll give
for
you credit where
improvement.
credit is due.
Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
I got a beat from that. Damn you. It's Captain Daddy to you. Thank you very much. And it was Ryanair. Look, people like to talk smack about Ryanair, but I've never had a problem with them. I mean, mostly because I've never flown with them. But hey, at least I still say I've never had a problem with them. Alright, what's next? In this train session, you will be placed in conditions that will allow you to focus on the throttle to manage glide path for the final approach to land. Manage to approach. Let the aircraft touch down smoothly. Brake after land. Can I just do this? What? Okay, no, I guess I haven't. This time it's going to be an easy jet landing. Aim for the big
This
rectangle and
landing
you'll be
exercise,
fine.
I want
What
you to
big
focus
rectangle?
on staying on the glide path using the throttle only. Smooth action on the throttle
I don't see
is
the big
key
rectangle.
for remaining on the correct glide path. If you find yourself too high, reduce your power. If you're too low, increase it. Remember though, always make soft corrections. You don't want to overcompensate.
And you don't want to overcompensate. Oh, those rectangles.
Now you can use the elevator to land.
Pretty sure 4 bad.
Reduce
Nice and
throttle
easy.
to idle.
Nice and easy.
Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now
at that. That
apply
was
the brakes
smooth.
to
That
slow
was
us down and
smooth.
bring the plane to a stop.
I mean, it would have been better if I was in the middle of the runway, not over on the far left side. That was smooth.
You did well, but you can do better.
Another B. Oh, yeah. That's not bad. Alright, what's next? Fine throw and yoke to land. Here we go. What goes up must come down. In this training session, you will focus on the key techniques for successful landings. Manage speed and glide path on the final approach. Clear the aircraft to touchdown smooth. Brake after. Quite safe. End point. Do this.
My first instructor used to say, the best part of flying is landing in one piece.
I mean, it's always pretty good to land in
Today,
one
you're in
piece.
charge of bringing us in
I think
for a
everyone
safe
hopes they will
landing.
land in one piece.
And I've already set
They
us
left
up
it all
in
in
landing
one piece.
configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare.
And Ric Flair. Roll down a bit. And easy. Land in one piece. has full concentration.
Reduce throttle to idle. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
That was awful. Sure, you get a shout out if you.
Nice.
It'll cost you $10
Now
billion
apply the
though.
brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. You did well, but you can do better. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
That was an utterly. But I still landed in one piece, so it's a success. Flight trap and prepare for land. Training session covers the procedures to be performed from downwind leg. Once established in downwind along the runway 21 at start to prepare for the landing by reducing 80 knots and 10 degrees of flaps. A good distance from the runway is a gliding distance, judged by seeing the runway from the cockpit at about half abrupt under the wing. Okay. When turning to base leg, reduce power and maintain the altitude by 65 knots. When turning to final approach, keep maintaining 65 knots and follow the glide. Power of all flaps is required to adjust land and brake. Sure, I could do that. Sounds easy. Piece of cake. A cakewalk.
Okay, we're currently flying on the downwind leg at the standard traffic pattern altitude of 6,000 feet. It's a flight path parallel to the landing runway, but in the opposite direction. In downwind, you want to start preparing for landing. That means setting your speed and flaps configuration. Reduce speed to 80 knots. Maintain constant altitude and heading. The flaps provide extra lift at the expense of additional drag. This extra lift allows flying at a lower airspeed. Flaps allow for smoother and shorter landings. Go ahead and extend 10 degrees of flaps, all while maintaining current altitude. We're gonna fly past the end of the runway here. Keep going until you see it at a 45-degree angle behind you. That's your cue to turn left onto the base leg. Turn left onto the base leg.
Oh, I think I messed up. Why is it still showing me that I've already messed around with the flaps?
Try to maintain 1400 RPM. That'll also keep our speed around 65 knots.
Oh, I
Turn
completely
left
messed
onto
this up.
final. Keep an eye on the runway as we get ready for our final turn.
Oh, well, I messed this up. Oh.
Keep a
Spin around.
stabilized approach and prepare for landing.
Pro. Look at this, it's pro flight sim. Whoops. Try that again.
Okay, we're currently flying on the downwind leg at the
What are you on about? It
standard
was
traffic
easy on
pattern
the.
altitude of 6,000 feet.
That was
It's a
smooth.
flight path parallel to the landing runway, but in the opposite direction. In downwind, you want to start preparing for landing. That means setting your speed and flaps configuration. Reduce speed to 80 knots. Maintain constant altitude and heading. The flaps provide extra lift at the expense of additional drag. This extra lift allows flying at a lower airspeed. Flaps allow for smoother and shorter landings. Go ahead and extend 10 degrees of flaps, all while maintaining current altitude.
10 degrees of flat.
We're gonna fly past the end of the
Oh, that's
runway
about
here.
10.
Keep going until you see it at a 45-degree angle behind you. That's your cue to turn left onto the base leg.
Onto the base leg. I love the base leg. Now turning left.
Turn left onto the base leg.
Onto the base leg. I guess turn left
Try to
again.
maintain 1400 RPM. That'll also keep our speed around 65 knots. Turn left onto final. Keep an eye on the runway as we get ready for our final turn.
I haven't seen the
Make
runway
your
yet.
left turn onto final.
Okay. Way too far. A disaster.
Keep a stabilized approach and prepare for landing.
I can recover. So, yeah, I can still. Nice and easy. There we
Apply
go.
the brakes and stop the plane.
Move. We landed. That was a great recovery. Wow, that wasn't too high, too fast. We landed, didn't we? Perfect.
That was
10 out of
alright.
10.
A little more practice will help your accuracy, though.
It's my first C. Yeah, on the PAPI, like, isn't it supposed to be like if it's all, isn't it like too red, too white? It means you're like too high, and then the opposite, you're too low. Yeah. Be on the right altitude. I'm still learning, alright? Cut me some slack. This is all about learning. 4 white, too high. 4 red, too low. Okay. I'll climb 75 knots to do this. Hey, I appreciate all the tips. Yeah, my goal is I want to, really get into this game. Actually, become good at it. I want to be an actual virtual pilot. But it's gonna take a while.
It's time. Your first solo
Yeah, it's a
flight.
learning curve.
I'll be watching from the ground in radio contact if you need me, but something tells me you won't. Your goal is to complete Sedona's left-hand traffic pattern on your own. Remember what we
Just
covered in our
enough.
previous sessions, and you'll be just fine. Good luck. See you on the other side.
Alright, let's do this. So are we flying across the Atlantic? Taking off is easy. Hello, Mr. Pilot. Hello, Senpai. Hey guys, many 6 A320neo landed. Nice. I like flying the A320neo. I'm like really weird. I like to do the long haul, like 4-hour long flights. I don't know why, but I really enjoy those. Like just flying from like major hubs to major hubs. Strange, but I really like it. Like my jam. 5,400 feet. Not the really low. You should try endurance racing then. I think I'll pass. I mean, only if I can use my flight stick. How about that? Anyway, I have tried endurance racing because isn't the Le Mans 24? I think I should probably buy it. Isn't that I assume that's endurance races? Is bloody 24 hours long. I'm not really paying attention. What am I supposed to be doing now? I think I'm supposed to be turning. You know, I've done 2 24-hour Le Mans races. You know, one in Project Cars and one in, was it iRacing? We did the other one in Resca. The one for, but we never actually finished because Guy Shaw managed to break the game like 3 hours before the end, or something like that. It was R Factor 2. Yeah, Kai shot. Rescue, when we do another 24-hour Le Mans race and actually streaming it. I like this. It's nice. This is calm. There's nobody like screaming. There's no, you know, nobody screaming in my ear, tell me I'm doing bad or good. Let me either change the altitude or whatever. It's just calm flying. Do I crash? Could do a radio or something in it. That'd be good. Now I haven't got the voice of the trainer next to me. Some jams. Be good. Tunes. I think I need to decrease my thing. Well, I remember from my training. I've got to turn left. Oh, more than a second. Downwind. And I think I have to reduce my speed to 65 knots. And I don't know what my altitude is supposed to be. Turn left. Probably a little bit. I've had a couple of Copenhagen-London flights, and I highly recommend bringing a good book for it. Obviously, you can't read while racing a car, though. And cars don't have autopilot. One day. You're fine, you can multitask for autopilot. Yeah. I like to, once I've taken off in like the A320 Neo car again, I just leave the autopilot when it's at the cruising altitude. Right, so I'm too low at the moment. I need 2 red, 2 white. Right, that looks okay. That looks correct. Now I just gotta be using my flaps. Okay, now I'm too low, too high. I don't know. Shit. No, I'm too high. I think I don't know. No. I'm so distracted by the lights now. Oh, we're gonna land anyway. Oh, there we go. That's perfect. There we go. There we go. There's 2 white, 2 red. But now I think I'm going too fast. I landed. Success. Yeah, once I'm at the cruising altitude for like 4 hours, put the autopilot on, and then just leave the game to do its thing, and then come out when it's time to start the descent. Perfect.
I
We
think a
landed.
bit more practice may be a good idea.
Thanks,
You're on your
instructor.
way to becoming one hell of a pilot.
One day I'll be one hell of a pilot. One day. That's the dream.
Oh, my phone's on low battery. It's telling me. That was awful. But I knew I was going to be bad at this anyway. What do I want to do now? Yeah, I don't really want to do any of this stuff until I've mastered takeoff and landings. I am tempted to do this again. If I got an A and... Screw it, let's do this. Why not?
Perfect weather for a flight out of Nice Côte d'Azur, don't you think? We're on
What a
runway
beauty.
22 left, and
What an
we're
absolute
cleared for
beauty.
takeoff.
The
Taking off in an
Waz on
A320
the side.
obviously requires more speed and a
I need to
longer
get some,
runway than a single-engine prop plane.
different liveries, I think.
But luckily, we have some extra tools at our disposal to make the job a little easier once we're airborne. For starters, the autothrust manages engine power to maintain a target airspeed. Autopilot will keep us on track with navigation, and the fly-by-wire system lets us maintain a consistent attitude without needing to make constant adjustments. When I give the word, you're going to execute a straight-out takeoff. After you complete the initial climb, I'll take the controls. But first, check the MCDU for our reference speeds. I already typed in today's numbers. The rotation speed, VR, is 131 knots. I'll call out when we reach it. Take a look at the PFD now. Then, once we hit VR, you just need to begin a gentle rotation by pulling back on the side stick. Don't exceed 10 degrees until you've lifted off. Next, let's review the thrust levers. We need to be aware of 3 different detents. Use the climb detent labeled CL on your throttle to automatically manage the thrust for the remainder of the flight. Toga to take off at full power on short runways or when performing a go-around. And for today, FLX MCT for a reduced thrust takeoff. We reduce thrust at takeoff to preserve our engine life and save fuel. Now let's monitor the engine parameters.
Yeah, until you actually like play this game,
As you can see on the engine
you
warning
don't
system
realise
display,
just how
I applied
much
the parking brakes earlier.
pilots have to do, like how much is going on and so much. Yeah, when you just sat there, you know, at the back, you know, first class, second class, whatever, business class, you know, you're off, you know, fly. I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but you know what I mean. Like you don't realise how actually there's a lot. I mean, look at all these buttons. Like, what? You have to don't even do anything out here. Crazy. Right, I should probably actually.
Okay, we're ready to go. Apply
Take off.
half forward side stick. Then move both thrust levers gently forward to 50% N1. Then move them to the flex detent. Okay, now the auto thrust is armed. Use the rudder to keep us on the center line. 80. Rotate.
Oh yeah, we have lift.
Positive climb. Gear up. Engage autopilot. Autopilot
There you go.
can
Autopilot
either
on.
be engaged
No, I don't have
5
to do anything.
seconds or 100 feet after takeoff to manage heading and altitude. The FMA is showing lever climb, which means we've reached thrust reduction altitude. Adjust the thrust levers to climb
Last thing is
detent.
flying one monitoring air traffic control. It's hard as hell. Oh yeah, I can imagine. What am I supposed to be doing now? I've engaged autopilot. Am I supposed to be doing something? You think some flights, I think some long haul flights have free, don't they? They have obviously captain, first officer, and so is it? I don't know what. Sometimes it's an engineer, isn't it? Like a lot of the like.
Overspeed.
What's going on? I'm not paying attention. Overspeed. What have I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now.
Overspeed.
I keep getting distracted.
Overspeed.
Oh, it's supposed to be in Klein, that's right.
Now we're in the climb detent. Auto thrust is active and will manage airspeed by adjusting the power. At S speed, retract flaps to 0. Disarm ground spoilers.
Maybe I shouldn't play this game on stream. I get distracted too much.
Overspeed.
You really have to like pay attention. Oh, what am I doing? Speed.
That was excellent.
At the speed. BA. The worst score that I got last time out. I think they run 2 crews of 2 for 14 hours plus. Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, I guess. I mean, they must do for. That's a lot of flying. Like 14. I mean, what's the longest flight in the world? It's from. Is it London to. Somewhere in Australia? Oh, here's the light code you were on about, Akita. I thought I'd seen it somewhere before. Yeah, because I think, is it London to Perth? Is the longest flight in the world? Like, longest non-stop flight in the world, at least. I definitely know it's from London to Australia. I can't remember where in Australia. But that's, yeah, like something like 14, 15 hours. Something longer. Alright, let's try and land. This should be a laugh. Is the longest flight, is that London Perth? Is that non-stop though? Because I know there's a non-stop one.
We're on course for a visual landing approach into Nice Côte d'Azur.
That's
Auto
'cause
thrust is
planet
going to
Earth.
handle power management, so our main objective
Need a
is to
spacecraft for
control the
that,
pitch
though,
to stay
Adora.
on the glide slope. The beauty of fly-by-wire means you only need to use the stick when you want to make attitude adjustments. Alright, as long as auto thrust is on, the speed will be automatically managed. Throttles should
yeah,
stay in the
non-stop.
climb detent.
Qantas Air.
Just focus on the trajectory.
Never flown
Remember,
with,
fly-by-wire
Qantas.
doesn't need a lot of corrective input.
I hear they're quite good though.
Just keep making small adjustments to pitch and roll as necessary. See the screw
Is
on
London
the
to
dash
Sydney
above
further
the
than London to
PFD?
Perth though?
Use that as a guideline to keep us
I
centered
can't
on
remember
the
which
runway.
side.
For a visual
Perth
approach,
is to Sydney.
we have the track FPA mode
I don't really know
activated.
Sydney,
This will
Australia's
display the green
geography.
velocity vector
Wow.
on your attitude indicator. Place it 3 degrees below the horizon to follow a 3
I am really not
degree
paying
glide
attention to
slope.
all the instructions. But yeah. Wait, yeah, they began London to Sydney non-stop in 2020. Quite a time to bring a flight like that in. I say it must be for testing, because I feel like there wouldn't have been the demand in 2020 for a flight like that. I do remember seeing a video online where they had loads of staff. They took loads of staff out to test. They did like they had people. Asked them, how was it? Stuff. I have 14, 15 hour long flight. That is a long time being a tube of farts, as I've heard somebody describe it before as a tube of farts.
Look to the right of the runway at the 4 colored lights called PAPI. They'll give feedback to stay within a 3 degree
New York to
glide
Singapore.
slope all the way down. If the PAPI shows
So
2
what- who-
white
who,
lights
uh,
and
who
2
operates
reds,
that?
then we're on target. 4
New York to
white
Singapore.
lights means we're too high.
I'd love to go to Singapore.
4 red means we're too low. At 20 feet, pull back on the stick to kiss the runway, but be careful to avoid a tail strike.
I'm really not paying attention. Of course, I probably should have guessed it was Singapore Airlines. Supposedly, again, they're not flying with Singapore either, but apparently they're supposed to be the best in the world. like the number one rated airline. A350. I really don't pay attention to what's going on. I'm not even sure if I'm doing this right. Probably should listen to all the instructor was telling me. Stop distracting me, chat. I am not lined up properly, am I? I definitely drifted.
500.
Or have I? I can't tell. I've definitely drifted.
We're getting close to the threshold. Now shift your focus down to the end of the runway. Listen for the computer calling out retard, then set thrust to idle.
Oh, this is disaster.
300.
I'm not gonna make it. No, I'm.
200.
Oh, up, go up, go up. I can recover. I can recover. Okay, I can recover.
100. 60, 50, 40, 30.
Time to flare.
Retard.
There we go. Covered. Easy.
Now return the side stick to neutral. Spoilers and auto brakes are activated. You did well, but you
You
can
want a
do
game
better.
challenge? The longest flight period is Beijing, Madrid to Sao Paulo. Almost 22 hours. Maybe I'll try that one day. When I'm actually good at this, at flying. Maybe I'll do like a 22-hour stream. I'll just smash it into the ground instead. Hey, I landed, alright? I landed. Alright, let's go back to actually, I really need to practice. Like this stuff, I think. You just wait. Give me a few months and I'll be pro. I won't be smashing into the ground.
Where flares will be perfection.
So he says. With no
For
confidence
this landing
whatsoever.
exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast.
Yeah, I need 2 weeks when I reinstall flight. I'm gonna need more than 2 weeks. I'm gonna need like 2 months, probably. I mean, I'm gonna have to try and play
Keep
this
your airspeed at
consistently.
65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft.
No, I
to
played it a
slow
lot,
your
like on and
descent
off,
for a
but never
softer
like
landing,
seriously.
but without
Like
ever
never to like.
leveling off or climbing.
I want to get to the point
The main
where you know
landing
they're like
will
rare
touch
west
down
rescuers
before
in
the
his
nose
like
wheel does.
sim race, and I want to get to that point where I'm actually good. But I know it's gonna take a while. And I've already messed this up, so let's
You're
just
coming up on
restart.
flare.
You know, I want to become a serious
For this
pilot. I
landing
rescue as a
exercise,
serious racer.
I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around
Rest has been,
65
like,
knots. Pitch down
racing
if you're going
for
too
years.
slow. Pitch up if you're too fast.
Oh no, I'm fueling his ego now. No, I didn't say you were good. Forget I said anything.
Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare
Hi.
means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does. We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop. Well done, but there's room for improvement. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
Oh, that's even worse than my last score.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus on the yoke only. We're close enough to the runway to land safely without adding any throttle. Maintain a speed of around 65 knots. Pitch down if you're going too slow. Pitch up if you're too fast.
There we go, I'm at like 65 knots.
Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does.
Ah, it already messed this up. I'm like out of... I haven't lined up properly. This is difficult. Too hard.
We're coming up on flare height. Resist the temptation to pull back. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us
Nice.
down and bring the plane to a stop. Well done, but there's room for improvement. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
Well, I was at the right speed for a while. That's even worse. I'm just getting worse at this. Maybe I'm overdoing the flare at the end.
For this landing exercise, I want you to focus
It's
on
the
the
bread
yoke
all over.
only.
No, this is just
Close
practice.
enough
Whereas
to the runway to land
with the breads,
safely without
I needed
adding any
that bread.
throttle.
This is just played as again so I can
Maintain a
actually
speed of around
land
65
properly.
knots. Pitch down if you're
Talk
going
about
too
practice,
slow.
Rescue. You should know
Pitch
that.
up if you're too fast.
Practice makes perfect. Like I don't want to do any of the other training until I'm actually you know, take off and land properly.
Keep your airspeed at 65 knots. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. To flare means to raise the nose of the aircraft to slow your descent for a softer landing, but without ever leveling off or climbing. The main landing gear will touch down before the nose wheel does.
Actually in line with the runway.
Coming up on flare height, resist the temptation to pull back. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now
That was
apply
pretty
the brakes
smooth
to
that
slow us
time.
down and bring the
That was
plane
pretty
to a stop.
good, I think. That was smooth. That'll be my best one
Well
yet.
done, but there's room for
Surely.
improvement. Keep in mind that approaching the runway at the right speed is key to a good landing.
I mean, a better score. Not my best. Let's have one more go at the... I will probably call the stream. My phone is about to die. I haven't put it on charge. Which I probably should have done before the stream, but... oh well.
Okay, we're currently flying on the downwind leg at the standard traffic pattern altitude of 6,000 feet. It's a flight path parallel to the landing runway, but in the opposite direction. In downwind, you want to start preparing for landing. That means setting your speed and flaps configuration. Reduce speed to 80 knots. Maintain constant altitude and heading. The flaps provide extra lift at the
I need
expense
to
of
figure
additional
out what
drag.
my
This
collapse button is on. The trim is 9 and 6. Okay, 10 and 5.
extra lift allows flying at a lower airspeed. Flaps allow for smoother and shorter landings. Go ahead and extend 10 degrees of flaps, all while maintaining current altitude. We're gonna fly past the end of the runway here. Keep going until you see it at a 45-degree angle behind you. That's your cue to turn left onto the base leg.
5 degree. God, I hate that. Still going a bit too fast, I think. I need to get to 80 knots. I'll turn left.
Turn left onto the base leg. Try to maintain 1400 RPM. That'll also keep our speed around 65 knots. Turn left onto final. Keep an eye on the runway as we get ready for our final turn.
I'll either turn into 8. I like... depends on I'm lined up properly.
Keep a stabilized approach and prepare for landing.
Go down to 65 knots. Okay. Calm. Up. High. Fast. Faster.
apply the brakes and stop the plane.
Damn, I need so much practice.
That was alright. A little more practice will help your accuracy, though.
I feel like I've made progress. I say that, and I see again, my score is even worse than my best score. Maybe I'm not getting any better. They say practice makes perfect.
Oh.
In this landing exercise, I want you to focus on staying on the glide path using the throttle only. Smooth action on the throttle is key for remaining on the correct glide path. If you find yourself too high, reduce your power. If you're too low, increase it. Remember though, always make soft corrections. You don't want to overcompensate.
You never want to overcompensate.
Now you can use the elevator to land.
Disaster again. I just keep messing it up. I.
Reduce throttle to idle. Now focus on the end of the runway and pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop.
Nice. I'm applying the brake. It won't slow down. There.
You did well, but you can do better.
Thank you, instructor. Better. I placed my best score. Right, my phone is about to die, so I think I will call it there. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching me very badly play Flight Sim. I'm gonna try and hopefully make this a weekly thing. As I said, I want to play this a lot more, like really get into it, actually get good at it. So I'm hopefully going to be streaming it at least once a week on my own channel. Just Hotshot Volare. Link is in the description of this video, I would assume. But I mean, hopefully I want to do a lot of the activities like the landing challenges and stuff, so look out for that kind of stuff. We're next streaming, I think Rescue's streaming on his channel, Racing, I don't know what Racing is, on Wednesday. All four of us are back on this channel on Friday. We're playing Ember, which is like a wacky firefighting game, which I just know is going to be chaos with the four of us. And I might, not 100% sure yet, I might stream on my own channel tomorrow evening. I might play City Skylines because there's a airport DLC coming out at the end of this month, which I feel like is something that I should play. So I might tomorrow stream a bit of City Skylines and start building my city in preparation for building an airport on it. So I mean, if anyone's got any name suggestions, tweet them to me or Put it in the chat tomorrow and let me know at the start of the stream. But I'll tweet out if I'm gonna do that or not. But yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hotshot taking off.